Hello, my name is Professor Kathy Gillis, and I'm here to talk about the online classes, and this will tell you how to log in and how to navigate through the course. I've prepared a PowerPoint slideshow which will demonstrate the overall differences and how to log in. On the first slide, obviously I identify myself and my class with my email and where my office is located. Upon completion of this orientation, these are the things that you should be able to know and should have no problem getting into the online class. There will be a few bumps in the road, but this will give you the basics to getting on and being successful in the class. One thing that students should realize is that Blackboard, which is the online course hosting software, is drastically different than WebAdvisor. You're familiar with WebAdvisor as the place where you register for your classes and where you add or drop or whatever you do regarding your actual course enrollment. Now Blackboard, on the other hand, is a separate password, separate login. It's just for online classes. So it's important to know this distinction. These are the things that you need to have at your handy when you're going into your login. So you need your student ID number, because that's part of your login. You also need a computer, which is obvious. But one really important thing about online courses here at Napa Valley College is you must have your pop-up blockers off, and Java, the latest version, should be installed, or you won't be able to pull up the windows and submit assignments. Here it also says you should have Microsoft Word, because that's, if for an English course like mine, you will definitely need to compose your papers on a software like Microsoft Word. The usual browsers that most people use will work. Some of them give you different pop-up messages, but they all do work for this system. And you should have at least some familiarity with being on the internet and internet skills. You should know, for example, what a PDF is, how to upload, those kinds of terms. You don't have to be a computer geek, but you do need to know how to navigate the internet and be able to do basic functions. The first thing you need to do when preparing to be in an online course is to go to the Napa Valley College website. Here you will find two places to log on to your class. You have an online education link that is in here. It's very difficult to see on the slide. And then there's another one over here. They go to the same exact page. This is where you always want to start when you haven't had an online course here before. Currently, there are two logins, but starting in the spring of 2011, there will only be one login choice. This is currently for fall of 2010. There are two different logins because we're in the process of changing over from WebCT to Blackboard. Eventually there will only just be one click here to log in. So if you're watching this video in the spring, you will log in where it just says click here to log in. This whole page, which you can't see in the slide, is the page you should save to your favorites because it does have information about how to log in and if you have any other help issues that you need. Once you click into that site, you will get probably a pop-up that says, do you want to view all the pictures on this? Is your computer trying to protect you from viruses and those kinds of things? If you do let it show you everything, this is what your login page will look like. If you've taken an online course with us before, you have never seen this particular interface. This is new, but all online courses, again, starting in spring 2011, will be entry just like this. Here, I've shown in this slide, which is also available on my webpage, that you can disable pop-up blockers by going to the Tools menu, Internet Options, and then turn on or off pop-up blockers. Again, you must have them off for this online course in order to be able to access all the windows. Now the login is created by your username with your first name and your last name. So for example, if your name is my name, which is Kathy Gillis, I would use CA, the first two initials of my first name, and then I would use GI, my last name. So my initial login for username would be CAGI, and then the last four numbers of that login are the last four numbers of your student ID, not your social security number, not any other number. So once again, your login for every student is your first two initials of your first name, your first two initials of your second name, and the last four numbers of your student ID. Your initial password, if you have not taken an online class before in this environment, will be student. The old software required these passwords and username to be in all capitals. So experiment, I believe that the system will take both. But your initial password is student, S-T-U-D-E-N-T. If it doesn't work for you, try it in all capital letters, as well as your initials. Once you successfully log into the course, you're going to see a page that looks like this. It has a series of mini boxes with a green heading. This is what I call your sort of desktop. It's before you actually go into the class, and it shows you settings that you can have in your online class. You can add personal information, etc. So in this slide, because your default password is student, you want to make sure you go into personal information to change your password. And when you enter into that, it will have a specific function for changing your password. Be sure to remember that password, by the way. Maybe put it in your cell phone or whatever you need to do to remember it. This is what you should see, and the availability of changing your password should be here. And in this system, everything has a green button called submit. So it doesn't say enter, it doesn't say anything like that, it's just submit. Once you change your password, again, try to put it somewhere or incorporate it into a phone number or something so that you'll remember it. If you should forget it, in that initial login page, you simply have to click forgot your password, and then you can manually reset it yourself. Once you've changed your password, go back to your desktop, dashboard, whatever term you'd like to use. And in this scenario, there are two classes for this. This is mine, but theoretically for this student, if you only have one online course, you'll only have one listed here. To go into the class, you literally just click on that class description. It should have a course number, a section number. And you will also see here, when applicable, there will be announcements from your teacher or announcements from Napa Valley College itself. That's the first part about logging in. If you've done this, pat yourself on the back, because this is where most of the initial problems happen for students, is that login. It might take a few tries. Feel free to contact your instructor or myself if I'm the instructor. This slide basically talks about how instructors online are different. We can't see you, right? So we can't help you when you're having a problem. We can't look for those kinds of signs. So an ideal online student is one who can successfully work independently and doesn't have a lot of other needs, and is also tip-top on time management. Time management is very huge in an online course. When students do fail and drop, many times it is primarily because they couldn't keep up with the coursework. They didn't log in at least 3 or 4 times a week. I suggest even daily. And then they were too behind to finish. They forgot about the course, whatever it is. When it's in a face-to-face environment, when you're in a classroom, you know where to be, you know where to sit, you know what time it starts. The online course, however, is at your convenience. So it is all on the students, all on you. You have to have a good sense of time management. If you're not familiar with the internet, if you are not perhaps the best at time management, if you have issues that you feel need more attention, like grammatical skills or any other kinds of issues like that, the online course may not be for you. There is not the same level of support. We do our best, but again, it's more of an individual role in terms of keeping yourself on track. In online courses, just like a face-to-face course, of course, you must be respectful. It's easy when you're online to be more intimate. We're all familiar with social media, and sometimes we might say things that might offend others. So you have to be very careful before you hit that submit button when you post something online or you're replying to me or other students. So hopefully you'll look at my syllabus and see that there are certain contractual obligations, such as being respectful to your fellow students. Here again, some people don't realize that typing all in capital letters is something that is read by people online as being you're yelling at them. So you don't want to type in all uppercase. There are more online etiquette guidelines to read here. That's also on my webpage. Words of encouragement, as I said, online classes are not easier. They have to be taught exactly to the same course outline of record as face-to-face classes. And of course, because it's online, I will continue with this in the next segment.